I'm Eric Bricker, and I've been a psychotherapist for over 25 years. One thing I can tell you for certain is that no one makes it through life unscathed. At some point, many of us will rely on the trusted counsel of another person to help us navigate difficult times, or to reconcile a troubled past. Whether conventional or unconventional, professional or informal, there are a lot of different forms that helping relationships can take. This podcast is an exploration into what makes these relationships work. Who are the people that help us? How do they help us? What do people need help with? My hope is to uncover as much as I can about this very human phenomenon, and I hope that you'll join me. This is the Good Counsel Podcast. I'm Eric Bricker, and this is the Good Counsel Podcast. I am joined today by Dr. David Wohlsifer. David is a psychotherapist, licensed clinical social worker, a EMDR therapist. He is a clinical sexologist and licensed sex therapist as well. And David is an instructor at Florida Atlantic University in the Department of Social Work. So David is a busy guy doing a lot of really great things, and I'm excited to have you here today.
Thank you for having me.
To talk about as much of it as we can cover. So thank you so much for joining me.
Good to be here. Thank you for having me.
All right. So let's talk a little bit about your private practice. I was excited to get you here because you cover some areas that I think are really interesting and areas that I haven't had an opportunity to cover on the podcast, but I deal with them a lot in my private practice. And again, your experience working with people who have intimacy issues, partners, partner problems, and specifically doing a lot of work with infidelity and cheating partners and this kind of thing. How did you get started with that?
So I went to school, I'm getting older. I went to school 34 years ago. And where I went to school, we could major in couples and family therapy or medical social work or administrative social work. And I majored in couples and family therapy, and I took to it like a duck in water. I come from a big family. I identify myself in family systems. I have a family. And so I often think of people always systemically. And so it was a good match for me. So early on in my career, I noticed I liked working with families. And where you work with families, you work with people problems. And infidelity emerged as a problem that I saw quite frequently.
Right. I get it. So from the outset, you were a systemic thinker.
From the outset.
Yeah, you were a systemic thinker. You look at families in terms of systems, and you could see functionally how the different pieces are relating to each other. And I think clinically that's definitely a mindset.
And families in their broader context, because families exist in communities and societies and nations. And so how do families intersect biopsychosocially, culturally, with the places in which they're embedded?
Gotcha. So it's really very much relational. Okay. So when you're working with, because I know you do a lot of specialty work with these intimacy issues, and specifically, you actually have a infidelities group that you do.
No longer. Years ago, I did.
You did?
I did. I ran a group for men only, and it was for men who had betrayed their partners. They were all heterosexual men, and they were all wives they had betrayed. And a colleague of mine, Tracy Rubenstein, who I'll give a shout out to, ran the group for the women who were betrayed.
Gotcha. I imagine that's heavy lifting, getting a group like that together.
I guess so. I mean, unfortunately, you always have a patient population because it's a common human issue.
Sure. So when you're doing it, it's normal to you because we do what we do. We know what we know. Right. So when you're working with somebody who has the infidelity issue and you're working with somebody who has cheated on a partner, what is the goal of therapy?
I never enter with my own goal.
Okay.
Well, I guess maybe I do. I'm contradicting myself. The first thing I want to do is lower everybody's affect. I want to get people to a place where they can begin to talk about what's happened with being as, I don't want to say unactivated because people have the right to be activated, but being able to be in a place of beginning to cope with what they're dealing with.
Right. So we got to bring the energy down in order to have a productive conversation about this thing.
If I think about them neurologically, their frontal cortex is flipped. They're in a fight or flight for both the offending partner, the partner who's had the affair, as well as the partner who's been hurt. They're both pretty flipped. They're kitchen sinking each other. Often other things are coming up that now are surfacing with the affair. and they're flooded. Furthermore, if they have children or kids at home, they're feeling it too, even if they don't know. We all feel stress in a house, even if we don't know what it's about.
Right.
So I want to look for safety. I want to make sure there's no first interpersonal violence. I want to make sure there's no risk of suicide.
Gotcha.
Substance use, relapse if they're in recovery. I want everybody to be safe and to begin to work.
So it's a lot of different things.
I never articulated it, but yeah.
I could see. I mean, there's a lot of different things. But it sounds like they more focus around the one goal of let's establish some safety so that we could talk about this in a productive way and that the environment at home continues to be safe despite the fact that there is likely to be some severe tension around the things that have happened.
And the therapist needs to position themselves to make sure they're not presenting as a mediator. A lot of people come to couple therapy thinking, you're going to side with me, you're going to side with them. And that's not our role.
No, that's a tough one too. And I do couples work and you could kind of see that often where it's each is looking to present a case and they're kind of looking for, and that's a dynamic that you don't want to get caught up in.
But yet I respect it because when I'm hurt and I say, ouch, I want you to say, David, what hurts you?
Yeah.
So I appreciate both people coming to me and wanting me to validate. And so I'll go back to the 1960s and maybe the 1980s to Ivan Bozeman-Naj's work about multi-directed partiality, that the therapist, when they work with somebody, needs to feel a connection with each person in the room. Hence the term multi-directed partiality. Everybody needs to feel like you've got their back.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I think that's only fair and reasonable. And that, in a sense, it's not refereeing, but it's almost like arbitration.
I'd say managing affect.
Managing affect.
Allowing affect, but managing affect so people can begin to do the work they have to do.
Gotcha. So with a situation like that, once you've established safety, once we've created, I imagine, a set of rules.
Maybe, maybe not.
Okay.
But I start to work with them.
Not always rules.
I want to hear the story. I want to hear, first off, what is the betrayal? Because infidelity is complex. And as time goes on, infidelity becomes more complex than it ever has been. I was watching something last night, and I thought to myself, pretty soon, we're going to be hearing about AI affairs. I was watching South Park last night, if I could admit it. And there was a scene where the man said very sweetly to ChatGPT, "Good night, honey," and had his back to his wife. And I'm just waiting for the day somebody walks into my office and I hear he's on AI all the time. He's talking to AI and not coming to me. You know, if I met with you 50 years ago, affairs would probably only involve people.
Yes.
But now we're looking at infidelity as, am I talking to my ex on Facebook from high school?
Well,
go ahead.
There's that, and there is the ease of access to pornography online and all of these different things. So I think even by definition, what is infidelity? That means different things to different people.
I let people come in and I always will ask them, what do you define? Where's the violation here? What do you define as the violation of the trust that led to you coming to see me? And many times it doesn't involve another human being that's in the room with them that they've touched. It might involve pornography use, like you've mentioned. It might involve an OnlyFans. So there's a real person on the other side that you're connecting with, and then I'm feeling a violation in that.
Gotcha. What is your experience with what we in the culture now seem to be calling emotional affairs?
They've been around as long as people have been around.
Sure.
It's, if we're partners, it's me taking my emotional energy away from you. And if I'm doing that, I may be hurting you. And that's relevant. That's relevant. And I might not be seeing it in you. I think one of the biggest things you see in couple therapy often is people are going off in their own lanes and they don't recognize what we call mentalizing the experience of their partners, of themselves. So maybe I'm working a lot and I'm thinking, wow, I'm really contributing to my family. I'm bringing a lot. I'm filling all the rules I'm supposed to as a man. But maybe I'm married to a woman in this scenario and she feels so alone with me that she wishes I was a 9-to-5er. And I'm talking to my colleagues all the time. And in that, there could be an emotional injury. Am I hitting your question?
Yeah, I think so. Because,
and if not, tell me.
Well, that's a thing that you see a lot, especially, again, with the advent of online access, that we have access to people at all times. You could be communicating, you could be texting. and that there are definitely these breaches that occur where it may not ever be physical, it may not ever be sexual, but it's certainly intimate, where you have someone kind of communicating in a way that a lot of people would say is inappropriate in a romantic-like way, just without the...
And I would say a lot of people, but it really has to be what your partner sees.
Yeah.
One of the first things I ask people is, what is your rules? How are your rules of your relationship broken here? Have you articulated your rules? When you met, most people don't do this, but when you met, did you say, what is monogamy between us?
Gotcha.
And very few people articulate that until there's a problem.
Right. So first thing we have to do is sort of develop what is a shared understanding of these things.
And those things will evolve in a relationship too.
It is often surprising to me working with couples when you start asking these kinds of questions, when you start defining parameters around the relationship, or even not even defining them, but trying to understand them yourself, because relationships, they run the gamut. They're wildly different, right? And how sometimes people who've been together even for a long time, they don't necessarily have a shared understanding of what the other person thinks the relationship is in all these different dimensions.
And what I think we may have agreed on, we might never have said until there's a problem.
Right.
And for us as therapists, people are hard to understand because they often don't understand themselves. So I'm asking the couple in front of me to articulate something they might not understand within them. So I'm going to have to sit with that a while to start to hear truly what they're thinking and help them come to an understanding that I can then join in. Does that make sense?
Yeah. An understanding here, an understanding there, and then a shared understanding, and then creating a language that we can communicate about. I have often marveled at just the difficulty of communication, because when you think about what it really is, right? I have this idea in my head that may or may not be formed completely in words, but I have to be able to articulate it. So it's got to come out of my mouth. And hopefully what comes out of my mouth is what the idea actually was. Then you have to hear it and interpret it. And for all of those steps to occur, how often does my original thought get conveyed or understood by the other person? I think we miss as often as we get it right.
Well, your idea is filtered, maybe through your anxiety. It's filtered for how you see yourself in the world. It's filtered for where you are in that moment. So if you want to articulate, you're going through something with your partner and you want to articulate something, but you're afraid if you really say it, they might leave you. And maybe you can't afford that right now.
Gotcha.
Right? Either emotionally, financially. So it's the challenge of expressing it and taking a moment and recognizing that once it's out there, what do you do then?
So even the ideas themselves,
they're filtered,
are often edited for the purpose of the conversation.
Yeah.
And intuitively, as a therapist, when you're seeing that, you have some sense that that's going on.
Well, I think we all edit ideas. I mean, we all sit, none of us ever speak without it going through the frontal cortex, without stopping and thinking how, hopefully, maybe we do. I think, and especially in this therapy session where speaking is to be intentional, how is this going to be received?
Yeah.
I would hope people would think it, though. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, it's funny when you say frontal cortex, because I always think about the famous example that we all learn about in graduate school when we're doing like the biochemistry and brain development. The Phineas Gage example, right? And he was a railroad worker who got the spike.
Spike in his head.
A horrible accident. He got a spike through his head and he survived and it pierced the frontal lobe. So this guy survives. He becomes a very different individual after the accident. And what he becomes, he goes from being this really reserved guy to someone who just has no filter at all. And so when you talk about someone without a filter, this is a person who has his frontal lobe essentially
It's flipped.
Yeah, it removed, and now there's no filtering of ideas, and that didn't work out well for him.
And trauma can do that too. Think of affairs as traumatic. Because you cheat on me, I've lost a lot. I might be losing my identity. I'm no longer husband. I might be losing my home, my pet, my access to my children. Everything I believed I was may have just gone out the window. I'm going to be traumatized. If I'm the offending partner, I might have just blown my whole life up. And I've got to have in my mind that I might have done that. And my frontal lobe is going to be flipped, possibly.
Yeah. And then, of course,
So
there's
traumatized people are coming in.
the trauma and the anxiety,
Mm-hmm.
the hijacking of the amygdala, all of that, you're really in a state of crisis.
Mm-hmm.
And
Crisis and opportunity, because often things don't happen in a vacuum.
right.
So opportunity maybe to make some good changes.
That's where we want to get everybody,
Mm-hmm.
to see the opportunity that's available.
Mm-hmm.
However, it doesn't seem like that's everybody's thought is where the opportunity is.
No, I think the first thought is, should I stay or should I go? To quote the Kinks in the 1980s. So the first thought. And I was watching Esther Perel's work recently on, she talked about staying shame. That a lot of people say, okay, you've cheated on me, and your friends tell you, you need to leave them. You need to leave them. And people sometimes will feel shame for staying.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. You think that's worse for men or women, or no difference?
I honestly don't know.
Yeah. Tough to
And
say.
I don't want to generalize.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I'm putting you on the spot with that.
I'm on the spot. I'm on a podcast. But I mean,
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean,
but I want to give that a thoughtful answer.
Sure.
And I don't want to give a generalized answer like women do this and men do that. And,
Well, I like the fact that you're giving this phenomenon a name. You call it staying shame.
mm-hmm. Esther gave it the name.
Gotcha.
But so I got to, I'm a professor. I got to give my source credit.
Because in all fairness, I'm familiar with the dynamic, but I've not ever heard the term.
So, and often what happens, somebody hurts us and we call our parents and we call our siblings and we call our friends and we build a case against them. We start case building.
Yeah.
Guess what they did to me? And the people who love us will back us.
You know, that's a really interesting dynamic because I've noticed in the case building phase, so let's say you're my brother, right? And this just happened to me. So I'm calling and talking, I can't believe what you just did. And it's this and that and this and that. And then you might be mirroring back to me, you know what, Eric, we've seen this coming for a long time and there's this and that about her. And have you thought about this, maybe leaving this? And then I all of a sudden, don't say that, but that's not necessarily true. That, it's funny because it's almost like I can say it, but now if you're saying it to me, now I'm defending.
Well, you might love her very much.
Yeah.
And you confided in me, so you threw the energy this way. You're not ready for me to come back at you and say, I might go a step further. Come live with us. Let me help you financially.
Yeah.
Come stay with us for a while so you can get out. I might be making it very easy. I never liked her, I might say to you. And then what do?
Right. And then that opens up this whole other dynamic.
Because if you and she, and this is why the person who you confide in needs to keep their mouth shut sometimes. Because when you and she get back together, now you have to deal with the fact that your wife's brother-in-law doesn't like her. Makes sense?
Well, and that's often, I think, a big part of the fallout with this is when the other family members and friends get involved, how that shifts everything in the social dynamic.
Go back to the first thing you asked me about, and that was how I see people always embedded in a family system.
Yeah.
So one of the first questions I ask people is, who have you told? Because that's going to impact the couple. Do your children know? If so, how old are your children? Can they handle it? Did you let each of your parents know? What are people saying about the affair? Are people telling you to leave? Are they telling you to stay? And that can be very culturally influenced too. You know, if I'm working with two people that are both well-paid professionals, the idea of staying or leaving is very different than if one person is sole supporting the entire family. So I've seen people say to somebody, you've got your own business, leave them. You don't need them financially.
Right.
As opposed to somebody else might say, listen, you've given up 10 years of your career. You can't go anywhere now.
Yeah, there are all these complex dynamics, and some of it is business related, right? Some of it is
Well, and I would say survival related.
survival related, based on a lot of these practical factors. And that's tough.
You build a life with somebody, it's not so easy to unpack it. A lot of people will say to me, if they ever cheated, I'm out of here. It's not that easy. It's not that easy because we neurologically bond with people. The longer you're with somebody, the more you identify as part of something. The more your brains actually kind of bond together. So the idea of just leaving is a lot more than packing a bag.
You see that a lot with people who are navigating their way through divorce, that a big part of what they're struggling with is the identity piece. Yeah. And often it's complicated in ways that people don't predict. And very often
when people do bail out during a crisis, not bail out, but where you come to the decision that you feel like you would be better off leaving and staying. There's a thought afterwards of, should I have worked harder at this? You know, it's...
Well, you're an EMDR therapist, and we know
Yes.
that brains clean up things, right?
They do.
We have a natural adaptive information processing system. So a lot of times, once a relationship crisis has ended, and maybe somebody has left, they might also start second guessing because they're coping, and they start to forget the bad because that AIP is kicking in, and they're only remembering the good. So they might question. I often advise people, don't do anything fast. Don't make any, if they're safe, don't make any quick decisions. Work with me a while.
That seems to be good advice.
Well, then you're lowering the affect.
Yeah, because now you have an opportunity to engage the cerebral cortex. You're able to actually think and process and consider. I think the decision to leave is often sort of survival-based and fear-based. And, you know, sometimes in a moment, there's just not a whole lot you could do to make a thing better. But there's always something you can do to make it worse. You know?
Can I curse?
What's that?
I said, can I curse? You can blow things up very quickly. I don't want to.
Yeah.
But, you know, somebody said to me recently, they came to see me and I was talking with a student and I said, we want to always fix, when somebody comes to us with an affair, we want to start with the heart attack. They might need a knee replacement. Start with the heart attacks. Deal with the affair first. Lower the affect on that. Get them coping. And then you deal with the ancillary issues.
Yeah, sometimes it's a tough sell, the whole idea with someone who's in crisis, that the fact of the matter is you're actually all right now, and the worst thing already happened. And so you're okay today, and you don't have to do anything rash. You could take time with this and think it through and process it. You don't have to, there's no safety necessarily to run to. The bad thing already happened, and now we can create safety where you are and find a way to move through this.
What you just said was so incredibly useful. The bad thing already happened.
Yeah.
Which is key, though, because people will ask me, I will ask people, if you're still continuing in the affair, I won't see you for couples therapy. And I think many couples therapists hold that rule, that if somebody's actively involved in an affair, that we don't move to couple therapy, that we keep them an individual till they make a decision.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's an ethical thing to do, right? And I think it's an ethical thing to do because you're actually putting a level of accountability on the person who's committing the infidelity, because it's like, look, you have to be accountable for your decisions, and you can't simultaneously get this external need met while you're participating in repair work. I'm not co-signing that.
No. Also, I think no partner who you have an electric bill with can compete with the power of an affair. We have all experienced new love. We have all experienced passion. The power is strong. You know, if I've got 2 kids and laundry and tuition bills with somebody, and somebody else is taking them on this sort of fantasy ride, I can't compete with that as a partner.
It would be hard to do.
It'd be hard to do, and you're in 2 different states of mind.
And yet, it's the first inclination of a lot of people who have experienced that side of infidelity to try to compete.
Well, because you've lost so much and you want to prove that you're good enough.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm with somebody and they cheat on me, I've got to accept the fact, was I not everything to them that I thought I was?
Yeah.
Somebody else took my spot.
So when you think about what you just said, right, the internalization of all of that shame, plus, what did you call it? The staying guilt?
Staying shame.
The staying shame. So you have staying shame plus the shame of, I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot to deal with.
And also maybe what does it mean in terms of your children, your financial situation, your community situation? And there are cultures where divorces are not acceptable. Families where divorces are not acceptable. Families where maybe if it's a husband and wife, even if the wife didn't do anything wrong, she may feel blamed because it was her job as the woman to keep the family together. So you always have to ask, what are the cultural messages your family has about divorce, leaving, shame?
Yeah. There's all of that too.
Yeah.
There's all of that too. A lifetime worth of teaching about what this says about me and what this says about us.
What did you grow up in?
Yeah.
What did you grow up watching? I'll still do a genogram on every single case.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, to find out what is the background and what did they grow up learning about relationships.
So let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
You are clearly a compassionate fellow, right?
I hope. I've been a therapist 34 years, but
You would hope that there would be that. Like, you're clearly a compassionate individual. I mean, we have a professional affiliation.
Mm-hmm.
We have mutual familiarity. Have worked on cases together, all that kind of thing. So let's say that I'm the partner who's been cheated on, right? And I'm devastated. And I'm trying to work through that, and you're helping me. Where do we find the hope? Like, what's the message that you want to give me? How do you help me feel through this devastation?
Well, am I working with you and your partner, or am I just with you?
Good question. Let's just say it's just me.
I'd like to find what worked between you and your partner well, and where you felt the best experience of yourself in that relationship, and to make sure you can own that as your own resource, regardless whether or not you and she stay together.
Okay. And if I do that, if I could look
Did that make sense the way I put it?
Yeah. Well, saying it back, I can look at that and I could say, hey, there were these years when I showed up this way and we had these great times together, and I'm a great dad.
And I liked who I was then.
Yeah, and I liked who
She may have cheated on me, but I liked who I was, and I liked how I showed up.
Gotcha.
And so I want you to know that that's a suitcase you can take with you.
Got you. And how is that helping me? What am I, now that
Because
you've
you've
given
lost. Let's say, I'm going to use the term husband and wife. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's say your wife had an affair. And in that you felt emasculated. You felt like you lost the role as her lover, her provider, her best friend, her confidant. And you said to me, Dave, I felt like I was doing that all so well. Maybe I can help you recognize where you were doing that well and recognize that that's what you brought to the relationship. Those were your skills, your gifts, that should you stay with her, you can heighten, you can bring back, you can hear. Or should you leave and move on, they're going to go with you.
Gotcha. So part of it is moving me out of the absolute that because this thing happened, that represents a complete failure in who I am.
Exactly.
And that I'm not in the totality of that, but I can look at the relationship as a whole and see myself as the best version of me in that relationship at different times and realize there's more than just one thing to look at, right?
We all identify ourselves in relationships. Think of your introduction of me. Everyone was a context of a relationship. He is an instructor at FAU. He is a licensed psychotherapist. All of those identify me in relationships.
That would be funny if I didn't do any of that. And I was like, this is Dave. And I met him at the dry cleaners. And I thought he would be cool to bring on here,
Yeah. We talk about relationships. I even think about how actually I came to know you. I was friends with your great aunt, Elaine.
Oh, wow. Did we talk about this?
We did years ago.
Oh, my God.
So, yeah.
Oh, you were friends with Auntie Elaine.
Uh-huh.
Wow,
And one day she
wild.
said to me, you need to connect with my nephew. He's a therapist too. She was at my house.
Oh, come on. I don't know why I'm blanking on this.
So I always think of people in context of relationships. And so you talk about this husband you're describing on the couch. He's lost his context. Now look at how you're feeling right now when I bring up your aunt.
Oh, now you got me
Right?
in Auntie Elaine's world.
Yeah.
She just passed away a few years ago. But she was really cool.
She taught me how to raise money at a synagogue. So
Oh, wow.
we were in the same synagogue on the board together, she and her wife.
Oh, you were on the board of the... Oh, wow.
At a time, yeah. So
Wow.
now look at what you feel and how you identify yourself in a relationship, and let's apply that to a marriage.
Yeah.
Your whole affect changed when we talked about her.
Yeah. That's...
'Cause there's a connection. And what's it like when we break a connection? And infidelity challenges a connection.
Yeah. Identity, all of it. All of it. Wow. It's funny to think about the level of depth around just this subject and how attuned you are to it and how much you know about the ins and outs of it. And to think that that's one part of all of this larger, broader scope of work that you do. It's not even like the only thing that you deal with. It's a big part.
But no. Look, when people come in our offices, what's the number one thing they talk about? They talk about other people. They talk about themselves in the context of the people in their lives.
Yeah.
when I came into this recording studio, the three of us started talking about moms right away.
Moms.
Right? We connected ourselves instantly in the context of other people.
Yeah.
If we had met at daycare, dropping off the kids, we'd talk about our parental roles. And so when you talk about infidelity, you're talking about a challenge to the context, too, of who am I?
Who am I in the context?
Both for the offending partner and the hurt partner.
Yeah, it's a lot to think about.
It's a lot to think about, a lot to hold. It's never only about the affair.
Gotcha. So you're working with me. I've been through this experience. And by the way, if my wife ever sees it, it's just an example, hon. I'm not suspecting anything, and I'm not trying to make you. Sorry, I made you the example that by proxy made you the example of the offending partner. So we get to this place where we've established affective safety, right? Like I can talk to you
I know
about
you
these
guys
things.
aren't getting physical with each other. I know you're not relapsing, using.
Yeah. And now we've done this other thing where I'm looking at myself in the context of the relationship, and I'm looking at the times where I've showed up well, and I'm trying to salvage like my esteem here. And so we're doing that. Where are we going next?
Well, I'd also like to find out where she needed you to show up differently.
Okay.
And I'm not saying that every affair is causal. One of the things that I learned recently is happy people can have affairs.
Sure.
And again, I'm quoting Esther Perel here, but happy people can have affairs because maybe they feel like they lost something of themselves that they're finding in the affair. Realize love and sexuality and all of that takes over our brains like drugs.
So I'm going to throw something out.
Throw it at it.
I'm going to throw something out to you. Okay. This was something that somebody had said to me a while back, and I kind of conceptualized it. To me, it sounded true, but I've never tested it empirically. I don't really know where it comes from. It comes from my friend. But he said that there are essentially like three types of affairs, right? You have your double life where, I might have like two whole relationships going on, and that might go on for a while.
We might not even know each other.
Right. So I've got a double life. I'm one person over here. I'm another person over here. Then you have what maybe is classified as like sex addiction, right? Like this kind of compulsive thing that's going on. And he also described what is known as an exit affair, which is often utilized
to blow it up.
To blow it up for a person that may want out of a relationship but doesn't know how to do that.
So they sabotage it.
Yeah.
Your question? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, so there are those three.
I think there's so much more than three.
I'm sure there are.
I like to take a deconstructionist lens where I never define affairs are X, Y, and Z.
Right.
You come to my office, you tell me what hurts, and I'm going to go there.
Right. Because everybody's different.
Listen, I've worked with people in open relationships.
Yeah.
Where there's non-monogamy agreements, but they still have their rules.
Right. I've seen that as well. And down here in South Florida, there is a very robust swinger community. It's
and polyamorous community.
Polyamorous. There's a lot of that going on. So everybody's rules of what defines a relationship is a little different. But what's fascinating about that is when there's a violation of the rules, I have seen that the people in those relationships are just as injured as anybody else.
Look, they target the trauma responses in our brain.
Yeah.
This may be different responses. So if you're talking, when I work with couples who are deciding to open their relationship, which is work that I do, are talking about some type of non-monogamy agreement, the first thing I say is you need rules. We always need rules. You asked me to come here by 1 o'clock and you gave me the address, and that was a rule I could follow. We couldn't do this podcast if you didn't give me some parameters to do it.
Gotcha.
And so in relationships, we all need rules. You were going to be the interviewer. I was going to be the speaker. She was going to work the technology.
I mean, presumably that's how it goes. I mean, if you suggested something else, we could have talked about it.
But we would have had a new rule.
Yeah.
And so if we decide we're going to open up our relationship, well, what's that going to look like? So, and what are the rules? And people still get hurt. Even outside of affairs, people get injured in relationships. There's always an ongoing rupture and repair, as the literature says. That's an ongoing process in all relationships.
You know, as you say that, if you called me and said, you know what, Eric, I've decided to do a podcast with somebody else at 1 o'clock today, I might have been a little hurt.
You would have been hurt, and it would have been appropriate because you had a plan and a rule, and a connection, and I would have violated
I
it.
would have felt a little betrayed.
You would have been betrayed.
I would have been. I would have been.
So back to your question, I see infidelities and affairs as a lot bigger, a lot broader, and I don't think it helps us to define them.
Not so easy to classify.
Our patients need to tell us something hurts.
Gotcha.
I may be in a relationship where my partner looking at pornography does not faze me in the least. I may be in a relationship where that is a violation of our rules.
Got you.
And I think people need to be forthright enough to ask some hard questions sometimes to avoid pain.
So when you're talking, because this is really interesting, when you're talking to a couple that's looking to open up the relationship, right? They're discussing the parameters of a polyamorous relationship. And this is what's being talked about with you, and we're deciding on rules. How does that work?
No different than how we decide on rules with anything we do. I start first talking about what are your health rules?
Oh, right. Sure.
And I start teaching them maybe they need to go on PrEP to prevent the transmission of HIV. If they're of childbearing years and of a heterosexual couple, or a couple where people can have children, maybe it's a trans man who can still have children with a cis man or whatnot. What are your rules to move forward with for medical safety? What are your rules for emotional safety? Let's play out a few scenarios. How would this go?
Okay,
And
gotcha.
I'll give them scenarios. to
So
think
because
about.
of your wealth of experience, you can
You're
draw
very generous with my It's a generous term. Thank you.
your wealth of experience, right?
I can draw on examples.
You can draw examples that people might not intuitively think of on their own when they're having trouble getting past the idea of, hey, this is the thing I want to do. And
Yeah. And with that, how are you going to navigate it when there is a problem? Because there will always be a problem. In every relationship, you're going to hit bumps on a daily basis. How do you navigate it? So you ask about couples opening. I might say, what are you going to do when there's an issue of jealousy? Let's talk about it if jealousy gets really triggered.
Gotcha. And what would be maybe a recommendation?
I would tell them they need to immediately stop what they're doing and talk about it and try to attend to a partner that's feeling pain.
Gotcha. So if we've made an agreement about this polyamorous relationship, we've opened up the marriage, but now I find myself getting jealous or I'm upset. We have to kind of
You need to stop right then and there and attend to your pain.
Yeah, and maybe renegotiate some of these rules.
And rules in every relationship are always going to be renegotiated.
Yeah. Well, sometimes we sign up for things without realizing what was, what was likely to occur. And, we like a do-over.
And that's why job descriptions always say and all other assigned activities.
And all,
right?
other duties
my
assigned.
faculty positions and all other duty assigns.
Yeah.
Right?
Wow. So I will say this too. I mean, there's so much to talk about. I wanted to do the infidelities thing because I know that's a specialty area that you have. It's a thing that I think we all deal with as clinicians. I'm a little bit in the trauma world, a lot in the trauma world. So this is a thing that I deal with as well. But you have a real wealth of experience, I think, encompassing all areas of intimacy. So it's great to have you here. But segueing a little bit, I know that as an instructor at FAU, you've had a profound effect on a lot of people. I know more than one person that you have mentored and has learned from you. Like people say very good things about you as a teacher and a mentor.
That means a lot. Thank you.
Well, and I could say this because it happened publicly, and my guy, John Pulse, does not shy away from attention. So I could say, and I've had him on the podcast as well, but when he was receiving an award last year at the Sierra Tucson Gratitude Breakfast, and he was one of those people, very deservedly awarded because he's done a lot of work in the community. He's helped a lot of people and done some
and is only just beginning. He's young.
Yeah, he's extraordinary. He's a different breed. But he said a lot of things about you. And when he was talking about your influence on him, it became emotional for him. And you could see he was really feeling it. And it's like, wow, he's talking. This is the guy that influenced John Pulse and has had that kind of an emotional impact on him. When you find out something like that you're teaching, because this is outside the realm of all the therapy and you're very busy in your practice, this is this whole other thing that you do, and that you've had that kind of an impact on someone like him. What's that like for you?
You're making me a little weepy talking about it. I've had it, I'll be 55 next month. I have had a blessing of a life, like a blessing. Like the child of me could not imagine what my days have become and what a blessing it is. And I've had a wonderful marriage that has supported that blessing. So thank God for both. It's magnificent because I'm thrilled to know that I had influences that were positive on people.
Yeah.
I do my lesson plans. I connect with my students the best ways that I can. And frankly, they're magnificent. I mean, I get to sit in rooms of people 25 students who've decided to dedicate their lives to healing people and helping people. They are magnificent people.
Yeah.
It's a gift. It's a blessing to be given that role. I love FAU beyond words. I mean, it's one of my favorite places I've ever taught at.
Yeah.
I love the School of Social Work and what we've put together there and what our dean leads.
The growth there has been extraordinary.
It's great.
The addiction research, all of it. I mean, some really cool things happening
Thank you
over there.
for bringing it up. So am I answering your question, what it's like? It's humbling.
Well, the reaction says it all, right? And I think with the therapists that I know that have had rewarding and successful careers, there's a point reflecting back where if you don't have some feeling of like gratitude,
oh, it's huge.
You're missing something. Like something didn't happen that should have. And I feel badly for anybody that's doing this, that's kind of like phoning it in, that doesn't have big moments, doesn't get to have big moments like that of feeling like I have made a positive contribution in the life of some other person and it feels amazing. And I consider myself lucky to get to do that every day.
Look, I identify as a religious person. I'm Jewish. I will always go back to the tenet of Tikkun Olam, that we are here to repair the world. And that is my purpose on this planet. That is the only reason I'm here. That evidently when the world was made, God pulled back and it kind of all broke a little bit. And so when people came to the world, it was to repair the creation. And so I'll always hold that tenet.
Well, it sounds like that is a perfect spiritual ideology for a person who's doing this work.
Thank you.
So you are,
thank you,
at all times guided by some higher,
thank you,
higher ideal.
Thank you. Hoping to go till I'm 120. So next month might be 55. I'm hoping to do it. I have no desire to retire and just keep doing it.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. I feel like that's part of the blessing of it is, it's work you can do for a long time.
My mentor is 81, still works every day. My other mentor stopped working at 100 only because he died. So
Gotcha. In the office, like that's awesome.
So,
like really going out on your shield. You know?
That's the only reason he stopped. He'd still be there otherwise.
Gotcha. Yeah. So it's one thing got in the way.
Yeah,
if it wasn't for that, if it wasn't for that, it'd still be working. Well, that's cool. That is a level of commitment. Well, David.
We're done already. That was quick. Oh my gosh, yeah.
It goes fast. It does.
Thank you.
But thank you so much for coming out, making the time. I know you're a very busy guy. You're a person whose work I admire and I think highly of. And so to get you in here today, to take a little time to do this, great thing for me. And I appreciate all you've shared.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah. All right.
Thanks.
All right, everybody. That is Dr. David Wohlsifer on the Good Counsel Podcast. One last thing. David, if people want to get in touch with you, they want to talk to you about getting involved with you in your practice, what's the best way to get in touch?
You can email me at Dr. David W. So Dr. no period, David W. at gmail.com. Should I give a number?
Whatever you want.
Yeah, do drdavidw.com.
All right, that's Dr. David W. And
at Gmail. I'm sorry, Dr. David W. at Gmail.
Dr. David W. at gmail.com. All right. Well, thank you again for joining us. It's been great.